All right. So this is not a league race, which is a rarity for me these days. But I am back with a race with my league mates, the people in my league, and we are doing a 100% race at Bahrain. So this is something that I've wanted to do for a while, and our league took 2 weeks off around Christmas and New Year's, just to sort of, give people a break. I think a lot of people were traveling. I know I was traveling. And it could be somewhat difficult to show up for a race. Our races are on Wednesday nights, so we were supposed to have one 2 days before Christmas, I think, and then midway through the week between Christmas and New Year's. So I scheduled 2 weeks off on the calendar and sort of decided somewhat last minute to just throw this 100% Bahrain exhibition race up there and see who was interested. And we actually got a pretty good turnout. We got 14 or 15 people, I think. 15 people. Yeah, we got 15 people. There were some connection issues, so I think maybe one or two people didn't really put up a lap in qualifying. We had issues in the race, which I will get to momentarily. But suffice to say for now, we did full qualifying, okay? So that's important because we had 15 people, and so Q1 was pretty much non-eventful. A couple DNFs, but everyone else advanced to Q2 because we didn't have enough to be canceled or to get eliminated otherwise. So I put up a lap on the mediums there, and then what I'm showing you here is I completely botched, just absolutely messed up the getting a second lap. So I did not have time to put on another lap at the end. I go P11 and I'm eliminated in Q2. So I end up starting P11 in this race, and I'm showing you a strategy here, which I don't usually do, but it's a 100% race, so I figure I would show you the strategy, and we're getting right into it. So you see we have 15 people at the start here. I'm starting P11, get off the line pretty well. I'm kind of blowing past Alex there, sort of right on Reckless's tail, and then I think this is a fuel load issue. I just underestimated when I needed to brake, ran right into the back of Reckless. So I'm off to a really bad start just immediately. We got a virtual safety car there. I don't think we had any DNFs, but you see me go with the new strategy, a little three-stop action. It looks like we're going soft, medium. And so I sort of limped through the rest of this lap. You may be able to tell just from my onboard here, I've got some serious damage to the front wing. It's absolutely going to need to be replaced, which, again, we are pitting this lap to get it replaced. But you do see me up here with a nice little opportunity to pass Fonzie, who it looks like is AI. I don't know if that was a connection issue or what, but I absolutely blew past him. And I think I'm keeping pretty decent pace with the guys in front of me here, given that I have wing damage. And honestly, I entertained for a moment the idea that maybe I should just keep driving and not worry about the wing damage. But I figured I was going to end up losing a lot of time if I just decided to not pit. So I decided, okay, let's go through with it. Let's pit. So you see me go into the pits here. I turned pit assist on because I got tired of speeding pit lane penalties. 8.3 seconds, so not a great stop, obviously, because I had to get the front wing replaced. You see us here. We get another virtual safety car on lap 3, so we've really got no rhythm going on. We got 13 drivers here. We've had 2 DNFs so far. Again, just skipping ahead to lap 5 here, we get another VSC. So the beginning of this race was really choppy. We've had multiple VSCs. We're down to 10 drivers through 4 laps and some change. So I think that, as you might expect, the start is a little rough. We had a couple DNFs, a couple retirements from people who got really bad damage and didn't want to limp for 50 laps. I can't blame him for that, but I do wish selfishly that we had more drivers who were going the whole race because, this essentially turns into a 10-car race after 5 laps, which is somewhat less interesting than if we managed to have a full grid, let's say no DNFs or a full grid deep into the race at least, no DNFs at the beginning. But, hey, I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. This was an exhibition race that I just put on and decided to do, so I'm not mad about it. So you see Hal get by me there. It didn't surprise me. Hal is a faster driver than I am. He's got more pace, more speed. He's my teammate actually in the league and is doing really well for us. A couple race wins this year, substantially more points than I have. So, I knew that not necessarily he's not my race, but that I didn't really have the opportunity to defend that much against him. Did my best, but just couldn't really stave him off with DRS, and then couldn't catch him on the second DRS train. But you see here, Hal's now full 3 seconds ahead of me, so we'll have to get him later in the race with pit strategy, hopefully. You see Kung Fu Panda behind me catching up. He's probably a little faster than I am. He's got DRS. I'm obviously going to try to defend against him and keep him off, but we'll see what I can do, right? And so we're at lap 13 here, and that is we're probably coming up on the 25% mark. So let's say, what's 57 divided by 4? 40, 16, I mean, it's roughly 14 or 15 laps. So yeah, we're coming right up on the 25% mark here. And I typically do 25% races, so this is a little bit different for me. And I will say I have kind of, especially after doing this 100% race, I kind of have floated the idea, at least internally in my head, of maybe moving to 50% for the league races. I don't know. I think it might be fun, but we'll have to see. We'll just have to see. Have to test it out, try it out, see how it goes. So you see Kung Fu Panda get by me there. I'm going to have a go at him here in the second DRS zone. I got the DRS. I go inside, and then at the last second I back out because I just figure I don't want to DNF or get bad damage on lap 13 or 14 or whatever it was. So better to just back out. You see me there, 2.6 second pit stop in the pits for 24 seconds. We come out in P7. And something important here, you already see everybody around me is starting to get penalties. They're starting to get track limit penalties. So you see a 3 seconds in front of me, you see a 3 behind me and a 6 behind me. I think it will be helpful that I generally am pretty good at avoiding track limit penalties. I mean, and maybe some would say that I could be a lot faster if I didn't do that, but it's a separate conversation. So you see a full safety car here. Coming into lap 28, I do not pit. I stayed on these tires. A lot of cars behind me pitted. We'll see if that bites me later in the race, but for now, I am a little over a second behind the true race leader, so that's nice. Slightly behind Kung Fu Panda, but it feels good to be sort of back in the race almost. It's one of those situations where, J-Rack is still going to be faster than I am, and there's the question of pit strategy. I think Kung Fu and J-Rack in front of me both did not pit under the safety car, but I think pretty much everyone behind me did for the most part. So it's going to be a question of whether or not my slightly old softs can hold these guys off. But my remaining pit strategy is finish this set of softs and then go into a set of mediums. So I think the safety car was really helpful. I think maybe I was still a little bit behind on pit strategy here. But also these guys on mediums are not going to go to the end of the race. I think if you went on to hards right there at lap 29, you probably could potentially make it to the end of the race. And you'll see later, I think there's at least one driver who did that. But these guys on mediums, I think, are probably going to have to pit at least one more time, so I'm not necessarily at a big disadvantage. I'll be going on to fresh mediums, on unadulterated mediums with full life remaining in them, so I'm feeling pretty decent about hopefully getting a good result out of this race at this point. Like I said, the safety car really helped me, but because it essentially helped me recover from that lap 1 incident where I sort of messed it up. But anyway, the situation here, I think we're about to get DRS. No, we're not. We don't have DRS yet, but I'm still a little off the pace of Kung Fu Panda. I'm staying ahead of Alex pretty well, which I was happy with. Wanted to use a little bit of ERS to sort of stay out of his range so that when we do get into the DRS zone, hopefully I can be ahead of him and not get caught by him, because I would love to benefit from DRS on Kung Fu Panda but not have Alex behind me benefiting off DRS. So that was what was in my mind. I'm hoping that I can pass Kung Fu Panda here at some point. I don't have much hope to catch J-Rack just because he's a freaking alien, but, sometimes that happens. Seriously, I do think he ran a perfect race. I mean, I haven't seen his onboard, but as far as I could tell, he didn't have any incidents. He didn't have any penalties. his strategy was fine. I think it was just a really nice race by him. So kudos to him for that. I won't ruin it and spoil it and tell you who wins, but if you know J-Rack, you may be able to guess. So anyway, I'm right with Kung Fu Panda here. Again, Alex behind me is slightly out of DRS range, and don't forget he's got the 6-second penalty. You see me take the inside line on Kung Fu there. Kind of had to break inward at the last bit just to sort of stay ahead of him and not make contact with the side of him. But you see me potentially give another go at it here, and I just don't have the angle to get it. So for now, I'm not going to be able to catch him. Jump forward a couple laps here, and I'm still within DRS range of Kung Fu Panda. You see Alex just full send it behind me, so he loses a couple spaces there. Kung Fu Panda, I got a really nice exit compared to him, so I take the inside line here, and I take the position from him right there. So I'm now P2, honestly, on the track. The softs are getting a little old. I used a lot of ERS to catch Kung Fu Panda, but I'm hopeful that I can create some distance here and maybe not necessarily maybe make a run at J-Rack, but at least retain this P2. And, if Kung Fu Panda makes a mistake, then I'm even further out of range, but I'm obviously at the mercy of the DRS here. And you see Kung Fu get the DRS, passes me, but we go into the detection zone, and I got the DRS. So I'm about to get it right here. You see me hit the overtake on the ERS. I didn't get a great entry into that turn there, but I do have DRS, so I'm going to send it a little bit here, I think, if I remember correctly. No, I just didn't. I was not close enough to send it, but would not have been opposed to sending it. But I sort of used all my ERS there, so it was kind of tough at that point to really do much more. So a couple more laps behind Kung Fu there, and then we go into the pits. So I come out P6, and it looks like Alex is in front of me now on the mediums. I'm expecting him to pit again. Hal is behind me on the hards. Lolo Man is pretty decently far behind me on the hards. You see, we switch a couple laps forward. Nothing really happened, but now coming out on the track are Mud Duck and Kung Fu Panda. So Kung Fu Panda, we ended up right where we were. Alex just got a better angle there. I sort of was giving room to Kung Fu Panda, and as a result, Alex had more space and was just able to pass me there, which was unfortunate, but keep in mind that he does have 9 seconds of penalties. And he is on new softs, though, so we'll see how this works out. But if you think about the situation here, Kung Fu Panda seems like has no penalties. Alex is in front of me with 9 seconds of penalties, but he is on new softs. I'm on new mediums, but his new softs are going to have more pace, and he's only going to run them for 10 laps, so he should be able to keep decent pace on them. Hal is behind me. He's got 3 seconds of penalties, but keep in mind he's probably going to be faster on the hards than I am on the mediums, and he's probably going to retain a lot of life, whereas I'll be looking at something like 20 laps, I think, on these mediums by the end of the race. So it's a possibility that my mediums drop off at the end of the race, and it's a possibility that his hards drop off, but I wouldn't expect that they drop off too much. But I take solace from the fact that everyone around me has penalties, so I think that it should be possible for me to hopefully gain a bit at the end, regardless of where we finish on track. But for now, I'm just doing my best to keep Hal behind me as long as I can, because I'm well aware that he's faster than I am. So my only shot is because I'm expecting that he will pass me, and that's not a pessimistic outlook. I understand us as drivers. I know that he's probably going to pass me on track. The best I can do is defend as long as possible, and then hopefully finish within 3 seconds of him, so that the penalties take me up a spot. So you see him; he does get past me there, and Alex, of course, already has passed me. Alex is up to about 3 seconds now, so I need to stay within 6 seconds of him for the next 9 laps. We'll see if that's possible. I do think that his soft should drop off the end, so it should be okay. You may notice that Fonzie is catching me very, very quickly. I think he was on a new set of softs. Dude is a fast racer. But again, he also has 6 seconds of penalties. So at this point, I just have to be smart. I have to retain my track position as best I can and hope to benefit from the penalties. And obviously not get penalties myself, because that would sort of derail the whole strategy. I think that for the most part, I've been pretty consistent this race. I've driven pretty intelligently outside of rear-ending reckless on lap 1, which was reckless of me, but I do think that was somewhat fuel load related because this is literally the first time I've driven in this game with the full fuel load. So not to say that that's an excuse, but I guess I know moving forward. You see me send it against Hal on the inside, had the DRS, went a little deep into the braking zone. You see him sort of swerve a little bit to avoid me. Sorry about that, Hal. Can he get me on this DRS zone? It looks like no. So I know that Hal passed me, and I expected him to stay in front of me, but obviously I took a little bit back from him. And I also, it looks like I just caught up a little bit to Alex. I don't know what was the situation there. I don't know if he just had a bad exit somewhere or what. See my tires, roughly 20 to 25% on the fronts, mid 15 to 20s on the rears. And Hal is still behind me for now. And I'm, in my head, I'm thinking at this point in the race, have the hards already dropped off for Hal? What are we having here? I don't know. He may have been on these hards since lap 20, 28, 29 when we had the safety car. Because I'm not positive, but I think that what Hal did, we had the safety car, he pitted for fresh hards, hoping to go to the end of the race on those. And it seems like that's what he's doing. Whereas I finished my stint on those softs and then went to these fresh mediums on lap, 39-ish was it? Does that sound right? I can't remember. It's been a long race. But you see how I got the DRS here. He blows by me pretty easily. Looks like I'm in good shape to get to DRS on the next zone, though. That's one nice thing about Bahrain is you have this like double DRS zone. So even if you get past, you hopefully get a go at it right here if you're fast enough to catch the guy in front of you. And it seems that I'm not. Just wasn't close enough, so I backed off a bit. And I don't know that I got another opportunity to pass Hal for the rest of the race. So fast forward a little bit here. We're on lap 54. Hal is roughly 4/10 in front of me. Fonzie has caught up massively. Mud Duck also has caught up massively. I think Mud Duck, I don't know if I showed this. I can't remember. I might have missed it. I think Mud Duck spun or something because I think Mud Duck was actually in P2 and spun or something. You see, Alex has picked up another 3 seconds of penalties. So I am very confident at this point that I can stay within 12 seconds of Alex and take his position. I feel good about staying within 3 seconds of Hal and taking his position. I feel awesome about staying within 9 seconds of Fonzie, who's currently behind me. Not for long probably, but currently. And I feel decent about staying within 3 seconds of Mud Duck, who's fast but is on the mediums. Newer mediums than I have, I think. Sorry about that, Fonzie. Got a little close there. I was trying to give myself room going into that turn and just sort of tapped his front. I don't think he got any damage as far as I can tell. I don't know. Sorry if he did. We didn't have any incident reports for this race since it was an exhibition, and I'm not going to give post-race penalties for an exhibition race. So I guess I'll never know unless I ask him if I did anything to hurt his car there. I don't know. I'd like to see it from his angle. I think probably I could have given more room, but also maybe he didn't give me enough room. So I don't know. Tough to say. We're on lap 55 of 57 here. It's been a very long race. I think that I've been consistent. I'm hoping that it all pays off. My goal here is P3 post penalties. I'm going to see if I can do that. On track, of course, I would like to finish P5 and see what happens, but I don't know how doable that's going to be. Fonzie's rapid on these softs. He's catching up to me. Mud Duck, I think I should be able to stay in front of, I would guess. I wish that I had checked my tire percentage here. I'd like to see what it is. I'm thinking it's probably almost up to 30% maybe. I'm definitely starting to feel the effects. Just sliding around a little bit more, really not going as crisp into some of the turns, into some of the corners, but that's the way it goes. The tire strategy on this 100% race at Bahrain is pretty fun. You see Fonzie get by me there. I left him room. Like, I was not going to go wheel to wheel with him. I know he's got the pace on me. I was defending, obviously, but it would be disastrous, I think, for me to spin out right here And I will certainly, if I spin out, I'm going to lose. I'm going to lose my net position to Alex. I'm going to lose my net position to Hal. I'm going to lose my net position to Fonzie, Mud Duck. That's essentially a 4-place swing. I mean, I don't think Suzuki-O is going to catch me. He's 2 laps behind, 27 seconds of penalties. I don't think he's going to catch me, but so I should be looking at least at, P7 in front of him. But if I spin out, if I get into a little spat with some of these guys, it's certainly going to be a big thing. So I just try to keep my composure, keep as much pace as possible. It's a little bit challenging because I can't actually see what Alex is doing. I can't see how far ahead he is in front of Hal. I can see how far ahead Hal is. I'm still, again, feeling really good about staying within 3 seconds of him. I'm feeling good about staying within 9 seconds of Fonzie. So at this point, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm cautiously optimistic that I can get P3, maybe better if somebody messes up in front of me. So, just giving it a go and seeing what I can do as we go into this last lap at Bahrain for a 100% race. And I got to say, as we do this last lap here, this was a lot of fun. This 100% race was fun. Again, I wish we'd had more guys racing deep into the race. I wish that I had not driven into the back of Reckless on the first lap. But it was fun. I enjoyed it. The tire strategy was fun. It was interesting. I'd like to do more of this. This is a good group of people that we race with. And I think it'd be fun to do stuff like this. We talked about maybe a 100% race with F2 cars. I think that would be fun. More 100% races with F1 cars. I think there's a lot of stuff to do that would be fun that you wouldn't necessarily want to do in a league race. So that's what having this group of drivers to drive with is nice for. You did see that Mud Duck got past there. I thought I was going to keep in front of him for a second, but I gave him a lot of room going into the turn where he ultimately passed him. Again, I'm not gonna get into an on track contact thing going on with him. I'm feeling pretty good about P3 at this point. So the last thing I want to do is make a stupid decision and ruin all the hard work that I put in for the last hour and a half for a 100% race. So look, I'll let you watch the end here. You see J-Rat gets the win. I was really happy with this race, especially after making a critical error on lap 1. I kept it clean. I stayed on the track. I didn't have any more big contact, and I end up with a net P3 after the penalties. So I think that's just an awesome race. I'm really excited about it. This was a lot of fun. Hopefully look for more of this. If these guys want to do more 100% races, I'm certainly down for it. So you can probably expect to see more.